Welcome to Hopegrown. What is Hopegrown? Well, it's a website for people who are new to medical marijuana and have no idea where to begin. It's for people who have cancer, people who suffer from arthritis, PTSD, anxiety, people who have trouble sleeping, because you know what all these illnesses have in common? They're just a few of the many conditions whose symptoms can be greatly relieved by medical marijuana. But you don't have to take my word for it. Lots of major health organizations and publications are now speaking out in favor of medical marijuana, mostly because of stories coming from people like Susan and Keenan. This is Susan Prophet Waddles. She suffers from a debilitating illness called adhesive capsulitis.
Is commonly called frozen shoulder syndrome. Essentially, your shoulder capsule becomes scarred internally and all the nerves and muscles are just enveloped, but it's not paralyzed painlessly. You're paralyzed in agonizing pain. It was misery for me and my family for a number of years, and Vicodin freaked me out. I did not want to go down that route.
We'll come back to Susan in a second. I want to introduce you to another friend of ours, Charles Keenan, or as we just call him, Keenan, who at age 28 was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. He sat down to tell us about a time when he caught pneumonia during the chemo process and things got real bad.
I got administered to the hospital. I was 104 pounds. I hadn't eaten anything, and everything that I had stuck in my body had been thrown up. My body was being so broken down that it had nothing, it couldn't fight it.
If it's hard to imagine people like Susan and Keenan as medical marijuana patients, then when you think of marijuana, you probably think of words like dope and weed and grass, or things that look like this, or let's face it, like this. A lot of people don't know that THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, is now being infused into brownies and cookies and candies and teas and coffees and sodas and balms and ointments and butters and oils for cooking, and now even pills.
And finally my dad got to the point where he was like, is there nothing you can give my son? She goes, yeah, 100 pure THC pills. It's all the effects of being high without being high at all. He'll eat like a pig.
And I used my slow cooker with butter. I'd have the butter frozen and I'd take a small piece and I'd put it in a cup of hot tea.
It was this little pink pill about the size of a small Tylenol. Made my nausea go away, made me hungry, made me energetic, made me sleep. But my head wasn't spinning the whole time. I was clear. The side effects were the positive ones that you take out of it anyway. Eating, sleeping.
Medical marijuana, you don't get high. You get normal.
And you'd think with all of these options and all of these results, it would be simple to connect patients with their medicine. And that's where you'd be wrong. Most new patients are deterred from medical marijuana websites because they're confronted with hard-to-read maps and inappropriate and sometimes confusing material. Wouldn't it be great if there was a website that was a health-based resource for medical marijuana? One that helped patients connect with safe and reliable doctors and providers and provided information on how to improve quality of life while still being free for patients at the same time? Well, now there is. Enter Hopegrown. Hopegrown is a grassroots movement made up of teachers and artists and concerned individuals who spent the past 2 years talking to lawyers and doctors and industry professionals all over the state of California to develop a set of standards, making sure that all doctors and providers on the Hopegrown network are safe, clean, welcoming, and knowledgeable. But even after all that, the word on the streets was, it's not enough. And we were like, well, what do you mean? And they said there's still a need in our community. So we were like, okay, community, what do you need? And that's when the suggestions started pouring in, like, how about some how-to videos to show us how to do all this stuff? And what about a doctor finder to get us started? And how about all these places popping up in our neighborhood? And we were like, whoa, hold on here, people. We still got day jobs. We're going to need some help. And that's where you come in. See, our web designer is going to need to add these new features to our site. Features like our new patient program, where we guide first-time patients through the steps of finding a doctor, getting their paperwork, finding their medicine, and administering it. When you give to Hopegrown, your donation dollars quite literally become the food in our bellies and the gas in our beat-up foreign imports that allows us to drive door to door in your neighborhood so you don't have to. Making sure that all the doctors and all the providers in your area and in the Hopegrown network are the kind of place, well, you'd send your mom to, or your dad, or your sister or your brother or someone you know who needs help. Because even though Hopegrown is beginning in California, we have big dreams of spreading to the other legal states and beyond. So do us a favor and share us on Facebook. Like us. Follow us on Twitter, because you'll be helping people like Susan and Keenan as we work to build a website for the people who need it the most. Hopegrown. Better health, better living.